And we are live. Welcome to the Signal 50 podcast. Back in the studio again with your hosts Alpha, Bravo, and Delta. How you doing, boys?
It's another fine day to be around the finest gentlemen, average American, big patriots that we can be to talk about the big issues that we always want to talk about.
Yeah, glad to be here. Glad to be back watching another car wreck in slow motion. I can't get enough of it.
It's a slow moving. It's a never ending train wreck. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Just to let everybody know, the Signal 50 podcast. We started this about a little over a month ago on a Wednesday afternoon. Sitting around with nothing else better to do, and we had the bright idea to go, let's do a podcast and talk about regular guy and gal issues, what affects us around the dinner table and the current events of the day. So we come at you with just a real realistic perspective of people just trying to live life as conservatives in a really messed up world. So I don't know what to say. Things are just a little out of hand. I'm back in the studio after 2 weeks of TDY, all over the countryside, 2,300 miles worth of driving in the past 2 weeks, and I spent some time behind the granola curtain. And let me tell you something. It's really weird out there, guys. Just very strange.
Is it as liberal as we all think it is, or is it a little bit different in terms of a little bit different than what we assume it to be?
It depends on what you. They're taking the whole COVID thing a little far, I think. I'll say one thing about California. It's beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful. It's too bad. It's wasted on people like that live there. Is it as liberal as I think it is? Where I was, no. I was down in Southern California. I was south of LA. I was in San Diego. Military town. Everybody's part of the military down there in San Diego. There's a big thing with the Nimitz there, and it's really cool. A really chill vibe. People are very friendly. I didn't have any problems. It's a little different down there. It's not LA. I liked it, but it's California. So
It is California.
Yeah,
I will say.
It is.
Well, Delta, did you have a good week? We missed you on Wednesday, but we get it.
Yeah, it's been let's say the grind is really it's just a lot of things churning, right? We got a transition happening, maybe. We've got civil disturbance, we've got a whole bunch of stuff. So it keeps me busy in the things that I do on my daily basis when I'm not here talking to you two fine chaps about how to reshape the world into a better place.
Sounds like fun. And my week was just the same old week. Everyone's going crazy over a couple of little bumps in the COOF pandemic, and it drives myself crazy.
I do want to mention I do two quick things on the outset here. One, we've spent a lot of time talking about tech tyranny and stuff like that, as most of the conservatives do. And I there's an example that happened this week that I thought, no way, right? So my wife posted on Facebook about a 2.5 minute or 2 minute video of every time Joe Biden inappropriately touched some young girl. And you can see it anywhere. All you got to do is Google it. You can see it everywhere. And so she posted it, and everybody liked it, and it was gaining a lot of steam, right? And then the next day, Facebook took it off. They took it off of a regular person. Forget about this isn't the president. This isn't a congressman. This is just a regular person. How do they have that much bandwidth to be able to look at each individual, or the algorithm brought it up or whatever? The point is that the video is real. It's all real live video of Joe Biden. Now we can't even show it.
Right.
What?
And that's what you're doing. That's what you're seeing. So there is a concerted effort. Your wife is unfortunately a victim of the algorithm. They're able to pick out, like data points. They're all ones and zeros, remember? And that algorithm can find it and it'll throttle it. So if you've noticed, we were doing some things with Parlor tonight to get this up and running. We would love to have this live stream on Rumble.
I think it's coming. I've heard Dan Bongino hint to it, so I think it's actually coming.
Thank goodness, because here's the reason why. If you compare our Rumble numbers, so on Rumble, which is and Alpha and I, when we started this a month ago, we can't really show our faces. We would be canceled, fired, because we're in the middle of deep blue country. We would basically be canceled in a heartbeat. But what we found was we were going to concentrate on Parlor and we're going to concentrate on Rumble. And the only reason why we're here on Facebook and we got 3 people out there, it's great. Feel free to comment if you don't have anything you want to add to the conversation. But we basically use YouTube to stream the live stream. On YouTube, correct me if I'm wrong, Alpha, we only have 18 subscribers, I think.
Oh, we don't have very many subscribers at all. No, but we have a lot of views, but we don't have a lot of subscribers. So, listen, if you're out there and look, the only way to fight with these people, and it's not really a fight. We're not going to fight with anybody.
Figuratively,
really.
It's a non-contact sport.
Exactly. The only way we're going to battle with these people and perhaps win is if you're listening to us on YouTube, and you want to catch the live stream that way, or you just want to wait for the rebroadcast of the podcast. That's fine. Great. Just hit the like button, share the video, get it out there, post it on social media, draw people to it. And if they can see it, they can see it. If they can't, we're doing our best here. This brings me to, the tech tyranny point is really something it hits a nerve, right? Mm-hmm. We've seen censorship of this scale before, and the limitation of ideas and printed materials and etc. before. And conservatives are called fascists when we're the ones pressing for free speech and for openness and transparency. I've seen this before, haven't you?
Let me think here. About 100-something years, 100-something, 1930,
36, 38.
There was the rise of the socialists and the Nazi
fascists,
and then all of a sudden they started rounding people up, particularly because of a particular religion or differences that they didn't like. And the next thing you know, they're on the end of a gas chamber. So this is what makes me nervous. We're doomed to repeat history if we don't learn from it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's really scary stuff, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I do think that there's somewhat of a speed break, though, on some of the really crazy behavior, and you've seen some of that this week with some of the congressional Democrats. Joe Manchin strikes out as me. I know Chuck Schumer has said some really crazy crap this past week, particularly about the Georgia election, but I think he's all talk. And I really do. I mean, he's been around since, I don't know, Jesus was in Congress, so he's just been around so long, it doesn't matter at this point, at least not to me.
So, one of the things I just brought up on the screen here, everyone's getting censored, not only like your wife, but also Tom Fitton, who's part of, he has his own Judicial Watch, amazing site.
I can't believe that dude's head hasn't exploded yet.
I know.
I can't believe his head has not just popped.
But there is something to say about what's happening, though. If you look at Parler and you look at Rumble, their numbers have shot through the roof. Newsmax and the Epoch Times, both committed to right in front, honest to goodness, ethical journalism. That's who the Signal 50 podcast follows. And if you notice here, one of the articles, this is the Gateway Pundit, which we like to use also, and there's your Parler share right there. So it's starting to make its way into that, and people are going to it. And if you ever notice the conversations that are going on Parler, That's not Pinterest. That's Parlor. You'll see that people get to say things, and if someone comes in and tries to do a punk thing, or whatever, a nasty conversation that they try to bring in, that turns into get out of here, and we don't, and they get kind of shouted at with facts, and people will respond to them and say, get out of here with this stuff, and they don't get very far. But you can get ganged up on Twitter, you can get ganged up on in Facebook, and it's just and everyone's done with it. So,
well, it's really sad, and it's really scary that. Listen, I may not agree. We took that dive into the deep left's thinking and their, I don't know what you want to call it.
That was the the fascist mentality. Well, they call it the anti-fascist, but they were all fascists.
Yeah, well,
the way they did it.
As disgusting as it may seem, and is in my eyes, looking through my lens, I would not want them to be censored.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go ahead and say those things, go ahead. It's fine. This is America, and we can say what we want. We don't have to like what everybody has to say, but everyone has the right to say it.
Correct.
And no matter how disgusting you find somebody else's viewpoint, they have a right to say it without crossing a line.
Correct.
So it's important to me.
Mm-hmm. So
I think that's what
said.
I think that's the problem with the cancel culture and the things that are happening. And I'm not going to pretend like there isn't some on the right as well. It's certainly not as prevalent as it is on the left. But the issue is that you're allowed to say, First Amendment gives you freedom of speech, and you're allowed to say what you want. But then all of a sudden, I can't say Merry Christmas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, or this word triggers you, or that word triggers you, or yada. I mean, build the wall means racism. Where did all of this come? So that's where my head's at when we start talking about this. I'm trying to get to the base level. At what point did some pontiff or some congressperson or leader or whatever decide that the First Amendment of the Constitution, which the last time I checked is still an active amendment and hasn't been overturned, is not okay anymore?
Well, that's where
cancel it. You cannot shut it down. If I want to say Merry Christmas, I'm going to say Merry Christmas. It doesn't matter if it makes you feel like you need a safe space or you need to go somewhere and cry and suck on a bottle. I don't care what it says. The First Amendment guarantees me the right to say whatever I want, as long as it doesn't hurt or harm anybody else.
That's right.
Dot. End of story. When are we going to start living by what's written in the Constitution and not what everybody thinks or feels?
When you see the other parts of the society not only embrace what you just said, Delta, which I agree with 100%, but reality, again, there's always this line between reality and idealism. The reality right now is that people feel that their values, what they think, what they say is more important to you, even though if you don't believe it, it's their job to change you or, quote, cancel you, where you get pushed to the side, lose your job, they'll shame you, and you can see here, especially with this migration from Facebook and the Twitterverse to Parler and to Rumble, people are still using, like we were talking about earlier, YouTube, because the streaming capability is there, and that's what we're doing here. But if we had our choice, we would be doing this on Rumble, but they don't have the ability to do it right now.
Listen, in the perfect world, nobody would be censored, and we wouldn't have to caveat everything that we say with YouTube is doing this, that, or the other thing, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I'm a little bit torn. Do I think that these platforms have the right to censor people? That's a tough question because, first of all, it's private property, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's a service that you have a right to participate in or not participate in. Nobody's forcing you, and there's no mandate that they have to be fair. So you know what? There's an argument to be had anyway.
Hmm.
In the ethically, I think that these platforms, actually, they're not platforms. Let's call them what they are. They're publishers. Okay,
Hmm.
they're
Well,
publishers
that's
now. They've crossed the line into publication and having to become responsible for the things that they censor or don't censor or publish or don't publish, fact or fiction. Okay,
mhm.
they're really crossing some really weird lines. Um, in a perfect world, we wouldn't have to worry about it. You know, everyone would be like, cool, you can cool and groovy, you can say what you want, it's fine. But you know what? No, they don't fight fair. And
No,
you know
they
what?
don't. But I disagree with one part of that,
Go ahead.
Alpha. This is the part I disagree with. You talk about Proposition 230,
Yep.
that portion of it's a regulation in that whole entire setup. Again, laws are laws. You have to have the House of Representatives and the Senate have bills, and they have to get them out of committee, and they have to go to the floor and get voted on. Blah blah blah. Everyone, I don't have to tell this audience about the civics lesson here. And the president has to sign it, or if the president vetoes it, they can override it with 2/3 in both houses to pass it. All right, everyone remembers that. Good. But the problem is the bureaucrats have been able to start up their own regulations and make their own little processes. And this Proposition 230 was made specifically for these sites. Oh, I don't know, when they first started becoming very popular in the year 2000, when everyone kind of saw them as nifty and great, and they wanted this protection, but they crossed the line. They made that decision. They said, we're going to censor you. We're going to throttle you. You can't say this. We're going to censor you. They're censoring the president, for crying out loud. So they've decided what's good for them is good for everybody. Your opinion, your values don't matter, and we're gonna stomp on you to make you conform. And if you don't conform, then we're gonna just make you irrelevant.
Well,
And
Bravo,
that is the part that I don't agree with.
I don't agree with it either, and I think it should be treated like it is. I mean, these are definitely people that are activists for the Democratic Party,
Mhm.
or the New Socialists, I'll call them.
Mhm.
They have made an in-kind contribution to the campaigns
Mhm.
and the election cycle. There's billions of dollars being thrown around, either in public or behind the scenes, in time, in print, in screen time, or censorship
Mhm.
of opposing ideas. Someday there will be a reckoning for all of this, and I don't
Mhm.
know when that day will be or what that's going to look like.
Mhm.
But I'll be really interested to see what that looks like.
Hopefully in our lifetime.
Hopefully in our lifetime, hopefully soon.
Right.
It's really gross. It's really
Yes.
gross, but
So the money goes both ways, Alpha.
sure it does.
So
Absolutely.
it goes both ways, and don't think for a minute that these big tech companies aren't looking out for their own best interests. Okay,
Of course they are.
and they're going to get a lot more play with the Democrat Party than they would with the Republican Party, because Democrats like to outsource, and they're globalists, and they like to push things out where labor is cheap and there are no labor laws, and so on and so forth.
Oh, you mean
And
hypocrites? They're just hypocrites.
of course they're hypocrites. Of
Oh,
course they are.
Mm.
limousine
And-
liberals.
Well, I mean, I don't know why Al Gore has a private jet, but he's the leading, foremost leading guy on climate change,
Well,
and how
he
bad
did-
it is, but he's got to fly on
Well-
a private jet.
Well, wait a minute. He did invent the internet.
He thinks he invented the internet.
I thought the military.
I saw a
invented it.
movie. Didn't the Transformers invent the internet?
Oh, that's
think I
true
saw a
too.
movie
I
about
believe that more than I believe. I thought the military did it, but
Yeah, when fiction's stranger than more true than whatever. So hey, we've got 5 people watching. Hey, everybody.
Hey, if anyone remembers who the Transformer was that tapped into the military base's computer system, I can't remember. I don't know, Delta. You remember that Transformer?
Of course. Which movie are you talking
The
about?
helicopter, the one that was the
Oh
first
my
one, the really
God.
good one.
Oh my God.
No,
Really?
you're thinking of Frenzy.
Really?
You're thinking of the Little Bot.
Well, Frenzy was part of the
All right.
Okay.
We've gone way off into the weeds.
Listen, I can slide all the way down this rabbit hole if you really want to. You're messing with the wrong guy when it comes to Transformers.
If we want
Let's
to talk
move
about
on.
James, if we want to talk about James Bond movies, I'm in. All right. Oh, did anybody see that Sean Connery's Walther PP is up for auction?
No.
The one he used in Doctor No, it's up for auction.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
very
I
know
sad
what that's gonna
too.
go for.
You know,
I know,
that came
that's sad.
across. That's it's been a tough week, right?
2020 can just kiss my ass.
Yeah, who says 2021 is going to be any better?
2020 is the gift that keeps on giving. I mean, between Sean Connery, Alex Trebek, it's been a really tough, and these I think are some solid dudes, right? Like they're not crazy out there. It didn't matter. They've been in the business for decades, right? So they've seen presidents come and go, and they weren't out there making a big deal about any of this stuff. So I got to hand it to, they're big losses this week in the entertainment world.
Sean Connery. I'll have to toast him a little later. But, let's move it down the road here. All right, so let's talk a little bit about current events.
All right.
Sean Connery, we're thinking about you. Yeah, but anyhow, if I only had $500,000, I'd buy that. But it is what it is. Anyhow, so we'll talk a little bit about current events. Let's not get too deep in the weeds over it. That's the current picture, right?
So the current map right now, you're seeing the continued battles going on in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, in Arizona, and Nevada, and in Wisconsin and Georgia. They're doing recounts. If you listen to one side of the dial, we have a dial anymore, remote control, you'll hear how and Karl Rove, he can just take it and go take a flying leap off a cliff. He's telling us that President Trump should just give up. And I'd love to know where he gets his authority. He was the one that was with George W. Bush back in the old days, and he didn't call it very well back then either. So he's not very encouraging to listen to. The affidavits still keep coming in. The lawsuits keep getting filed. If you listen to CNN, they're talking about the fact how it's not worth it. We should just give up and accept the king and queen.
Yeah, nope.
I'm not doing it.
No, not giving up. No way. No,
so
this
here's
is not
interesting.
This is not a fight. This is not a fight I'm willing to give up on.
No.
Not
yet. Not yet. Not till December 14th. Interestingly enough, I had a conversation with a liberal that I might be related to this weekend who said that
Lord help us.
Who said that, well, and I went off on my rant as I usually do, and he said to me, well, I'm not going to even make a judgment or have a conversation about this until December 14th. And I was like, that's really adult of you for being a liberal. I was like,
they could do that, really?
Apparently, some of them have a little bit of discipline, which is great. But I want to talk real quick, Bravo. There's the path, okay? So the path as we know it right now is Georgia, Arizona. They think that they can count enough votes where President Trump wins, okay? And
with
then
Pennsylvania?
No, hang on.
All
they
right.
just think straight down the line, if they count enough votes, then they'll win Georgia and Arizona. And then if they flip Pennsylvania and Wisconsin or Michigan, either one, it puts them over the line.
Actually,
They'll do that through the Dominion software and
Hold on.
proving fraud.
Hold the phone. Hold the phone. Okay, so you got Rudy Giuliani out there as the tip of the spear, and with Sidney Powell, warrior princess. That woman has got balls that clank. Okay, she's fearless, and she's ferocious.
But she's also correct.
She doesn't say anything, which she's always right.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, if she's saying to everyone, and she's gone on the places that would have her, that there's enough evidence that this is going to flip the election, and this software is malware. That's what it is. It's got backdoors. It's got codes that can, that little hiccup where Michigan, oh, well, we just found we had a little flip. We had a little problem here with a update, but it's all fixed now. Nothing to see here. Move along. Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain. Move along.
And don't forget the fact that the software is actually owned and controlled by foreigners. This is not made in America software. On what what GSA vehicle decided that this was the best the best use of our funds? I
Well, wait a
can't-
minute.
I can't.
If you can't fly a DJI Mavic drone on a military installation, how are you going to put our election in the hands of foreign software? Give me a break.
Oh, God, it's ridiculous.
It's just so stupid.
So if you think about what the path is, I'm trying to think if we can get Georgia. There's something else interesting with Georgia. Georgia's Secretary of State. There's allegations and there's a lawsuit right now to release the emails. He entered a deal with the Democrats. If you notice how the recount was ordered to be a full canvassing, and just so everyone's aware, canvassing is where you do a recount plus vetting the ballots. In other words, doing a chain of custody examination. Do they have a signature? Do they come in the right envelopes? It's a legit ballot. He's trying to rush it. He wanted it done by yesterday, 3:00, to certify the vote. So that's not going to happen because the legislatures in Georgia, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin are all Republican held, and they're the ones that certify the election, not the Secretary of State, not a judge. They don't have the ability to change the rules mid-stride, and that's another tactic that they're taking right now, which is amazing. So there's a lot of fronts going on. 4D chess is happening. There's ways to get this, but if we can get Pennsylvania and Georgia, that'll give us 268 electoral votes. And either one of these, flip Michigan, take Wisconsin, we win. But of course, the other side is going to fight tooth and nail, but they really don't have a very good leg to stand on when it comes to why don't you want us to look at this stuff? You don't need to, just move along. No, that's not going to work. So it's, we'll see. We'll have to see.
That's if you're going for, there's two sides to this coin. If you're all in on Trump maintaining and doing a second term now, then you're playing this sort of math. If you're looking to see if there's actual fraud, and we're in the process of trying to eliminate as much fraud as we can from our electoral system, if that's the goal, which it should be, then it doesn't matter what the outcome is. What matters is that we find out, A, whether or not this software is good or bad. B, was there widespread fraud in a number of different states, whether it was for the blue side or the red side. I'm trying to be agnostic here, just to say maybe it's a good thing that we have free and fair elections and that all of the the hand wringing about one vote, one person that came from the left, that should be the mantra now. Yeah, I can't. If you pay attention to politics like we do, and not everybody has the sort of bandwidth to do that, but if you pay attention, the messages just get completely turned on their head. I heard Kevin McCarthy say something, and I'm like, you said the exact opposite 3 years ago, and that's a Republican. And if I can remember that stuff, then so can anybody else. And it's really time that these guys start working for the people, regardless of what side you're on, instead of trying to get power, hold power. You know what I mean? And just enrich themselves or whatever they're doing. I have the same problem with both sides, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm trying to be everlastingly optimistic because I don't think this country can take a Biden administration or Harris for
No.
that matter, and that'll be another topic for another show. We're not at that point, but I'm trying to
Well-
hold on to hope here.
Well, look, guys, I agree with both of you. Whereas I agree with you, Delta, I think that both sides have done a horrible job of delivering good governance in tune with the needs of the people and with our wishes and being responsible for a very, very long time.
Mhm.
And I think that's how we got Donald Trump. Okay.
Mhm.
And I think more than ever, we see just how dirty, filthy, and disgusting both sides are, quite frankly.
Mhm.
I just find the Republicans a little less disgusting,
Mhm.
but nonetheless, some of them are pretty disgusting. Like Mittens, he's got to go. It's a shame. We've slipped so far down the road from where we started. I don't know how to come back from it at this point. What we were talking about offline, really disgusting option, but it might have to happen. So I don't know. It's just gross.
There you go, breaking down the fourth wall again. Come on.
I know. We're doing it all the time. We're doing it all the time.
I agree, Alpha. I agree. You're spot on in your analysis again. The COVID package relief, the everlasting lockdowns, you name it. Nobody here's the bottom line, guys. Here's the bluff, as I say.
Bottom line up
line
front.
front. Yep. Here's the bluff. Nobody, not a single one of those suit wearing, high end ice cream eating, freaking
Latte sipping.
latte sipping,
Botox
people-
injected face.
Botox have a friggin' clue what they're doing. They really don't, because it has nothing to do with whether or not we take care of the people of this country. I really wish I didn't have to make that statement, but that's
right.
how I feel.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, these people, the House of Representatives is supposed to be, we're supposed to be governed by our peers. How many of those peers have made a career out of being politicians? A lot of them. How many of them are multimillionaires? Most of them. How does that work for us? How's that working for us?
And let me just be fair for a second here. I may not know what I'm talking about either, but at least I have an opinion and I'm willing to stand on my own laurels. You know what I mean? I'm willing to come and do this. I'm willing to talk about it. And I'm willing to stand not for what, some group of people in Congress tell me I should think about, but for what I actually feel. And here, I'll give one and only comment to AOC. She believes the same thing. Whether she's right or wrong, she absolutely believes everything that comes out of her mouth.
I beg to differ with you. I think she believes everything that's fed to her. I think she's a puppet.
Who
I
do you
think she's a
is-
puppet. I think she's an actress. I think she auditioned for a part in a play and she won, and that's the most disgusting thing.
So who's
ever.
pulling the string then?
That's a good damn question now, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I'm literally asking the question because
I don't know the answer.
You could be right, or she could be just as crazy as every single one of my exes, and actually believe what she says.
Look, I don't know what to tell you. All I can say is there's not a whole lot there. You know what I mean? When she's reading off the script, she's fantastic. When she goes off of it, it's like, wow. Okay.
I'll be
she's the
honest
one
with
that
you.
thought that we had that the branches of government were the House, the Senate, and the executive. I think that's what she said. She was totally
I'll
No
be
offense,
honest
out
with
of
you.
her-
no offense
I
to
respond-
bartenders. No offense to bartenders. But how the hell is a girl like her a bartender 1 minute, and she wins against
It's
a
political-
deeply entrenched and very popular congressperson from her district?
Yeah, so it's the political wins. They want her to change. She rode Trump's coattails, believe it or not. And here's the other thing I'll say. I responded to a tweet that she put up Obviously, she didn't respond back because I'm a nobody, and she's wearing $14,000 suits. But I responded to a tweet that she wrote. It was so asinine. I don't even remember what the substance was, if you could even call it substance. It was just a bunch of words. And I said, I too was a bartender, AOC. Thanks for writing that. Only I use bartending to get through college.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that went right over her head.
Well,
There's
she's not running her own Twitter, so she'll never see it anyways. But it's like, look, come on. I mean,
she's embarrassment. She's
It's
just
a-
an embarrassment.
well, she's an embarrassment that got reelected.
And because because people have name recognition and they don't know any better. Meanwhile, she
Or
chased
somebody's-
out Amazon, who was going to bring in a $1 billion worth of jobs and tax income to the
Well,
city.
Yeah, and now they've
But-
got boards on all the windows on Fifth Avenue. So you
Right.
know what? She wins. She won.
She gets a dumbass award. That's what she gets.
Oh, she's not so dumb. Trust
Hey,
me.
Bravo, can you put an actual $1 billion on the screen so everybody in the audience can see what that
How many-
looks like?
how
'Cause
many
I have no
zeros?
idea.
How many
zeros
zeros?
is a $1 billion?
Yeah.
$1 billion. I've made it up, so it's about 20,000 zeros after the. We're in the trillions of dollars. I can't even wrap my head around
Listen, if
a
if
$1 trillion
you were on-
debt.
If you were on Twitter right now, you would have been flagged for some false narrative or something. So
Double
there's
barrel
my
middle
there's
finger.
there's my PSA for this
Yeah,
week.
no.
Laundry on the field.
Yeah, right. Anyway, so one other thing, this is the House race. We've gotten a whole bunch of people in the House of Representatives. They really have done a great job. Those polls that they were trying to forecast that there's going to be this big blue wave. Well, no, there wasn't a big blue wave. So that was a fail on the pollsters' part. But that's
Well, the Senate's still kind of up for grabs, so we could lose there yet. So
Well, there are two senators. There's a runoff going on in Georgia. That's where those two Senate seats, they have to have a runoff. And that's what we're waiting on, which is Georgia right here. And they're also talking about Dominion software getting in the way of results. Doug Collins, I think, was in the top three of that pile. But anyway, that's another story for another time.
well, we'll have to see how that all washes out, won't we?
Yep.
So look, we got to move on here a little bit. We're at 37 minutes. We'd like to keep these things through about an hour. Went a little over last time, but that's okay. So I guess the next thing we want to talk about is just some of the current events that are happening out there right now. I'll kick it off with the Million MAGA March in downtown Washington D.C., which was a fun-filled family event, and then Antifa happened. And then Antifa happened, yeah. And the sun goes down, and then all hell breaks loose. And you know what? Let's not pretend for 1 minute there are groups on both sides that are itching for a fight. Okay. I had a pretty dim view of a certain conservative-leaning group that had a fringe element that was not so pleasant. The Proud Boys showed up in Washington, D.C. to take on Antifa. Both sides have been itching for a fight. And maybe I've taken the wrong view of the Proud Boys. Maybe I've taken the wrong view of that kind of tactic being used against them. And I'm not advocating violence, but you know what? Enough of laying down and taking it, I guess. These guys went out there and they absolutely kicked the crap out of Antifa last night.
Yeah, but before we
They-
talk
they-
about the negativity surrounding it, can we relish for a minute on the sheer volume of people that ascended on the nation's capital to celebrate the 45th president of the United States?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whether they were saying, the election was stolen or whatever, this president is loved
Yes, he is.
by the people who know him for what he's done for the country, who enjoy seeing the strides that we've made. It may feed his ego, and I'll give him that.
Mm-hmm.
But he is also one of the most humble presidents because he's not just sitting there in the White House while all these people are marching. He actually took a ride.
Mm-hmm.
He went down to say hi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure
These
the
are
Secret
all
Service
the-
is thrilled, but
I made that comment to Bravo this morning. Actually, I said I don't, they hate him, and by hate him, I love him. But
well, they don't.
like,
They don't.
can't-
Yeah,
they
he's
don't
he's
hate
their
him.
worst. He's their worst nightmare.
As far as Secret Service goes. And
Exactly.
You know, for clarity for the audience, none of us have Secret Service background, so we would have to default to Dan Bongino on that. But I think Dan would agree with us.
Yeah.
I imagine the comment was something like this from the lead Secret Service agent in charge of his detail.
You want to do what?
You want to do what? Really?
Right? Exactly.
Oh.
But he rode and he saw people. There were pictures of him looking out the window of the limousine, of the beast there. God bless him. You know,
But there was people that flew in. They flew into
Yeah.
D.C. They took a risk during COVID to get on a plane to go celebrate, you know, this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's incredible. And that's worth celebrating.
Yep. Here's a
You know,
picture of
we-
all those people.
We sat there for 8 years during the Obama administration, and everybody celebrated the first black president. And that was great. It was really good on you. But nobody gives 45 an ounce, not even an ounce, of recognition for the number of lives that he's touched and that he's made better. When was the last time you saw a Republican president get this kind of outpouring? Or a Republican
Not my life.
anyway?
Reagan, maybe when I was a kid. You know, Reagan was pretty much beloved.
Maybe he was
Yeah.
beloved for sure.
Hmm.
But he didn't generate this kind of excitement. He just was a really staunch conservative, and that's what catapulted him to where he was at.
Mm-hmm.
He too was also a Democrat at one point. You notice how the most loved Republicans used to be Democrats?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. But you had some other thoughts too. I mean, there is a silver lining in all this, isn't there?
Yeah, I do. I have, and if I could use a little freedom here, I wrote some thoughts down, and I thought I would talk about leadership, and I'd like to do that now.
Go ahead.
What happened in the last election, beyond the fraud, some will tell you is all about character. All the left will tell you it was 100% about character, and that's why they won. The around-the-block guy from Scranton will restore the soul of the White House. What does it mean to be presidential? More importantly, who cares? The president is just another guy like you and me, and I who may have gotten politically lucky. How does a community organizer and one-term senator with zero experience on his resume become the most popular Democrat in the country? The problem is we have anointed presidents to a position that seems unattainable by regular people like you and me. There is nothing to say that a smart businessman, a talented medical professional, or a senior military officer couldn't achieve this goal on the merits. The office of the presidency is something to raise above as a prestigious altar, not the occupant. This grand experiment called America produces the best the world has ever seen, and the power of that comes from the people, not the president. The president merely represents the will of you and me. Failure to recognize that is a failure to understand what it is that makes America great. That is the failure of the Democrat Party and the left-wing lunatics that seek to change the very essence of this land. That is the future of us who only see red states and blue states. That is the failure of Joe Biden, who sees ascending to the presidency as a culmination of grinding it out as a quote civil servant unquote for nearly 50 years. It is the same mistake Hillary Clinton made. The difference is Joe Biden managed to convince large swaths of Republicans that he would be more presidential than 45. That brings me to my last point. There are Republicans on this. Where are the diehard conservatives? Where are the Republicans that support things like the Second Amendment, freedom of religion, and fiscal restriction? While you may not like the way that President Trump governs, you may not like the way he heard advice and then made his own decision, or you may not like the way he was transparent of the hard truth of what it's like to be the president. He is and is enacting the most conservative policies we have seen in a generation. So I ask you, Cindy McCain, Mitt Romney, John Kasich, and all the other conservatives out there, what moved you to vote for a progressive Democrat over a true conservative? If you say the tweeting, the way he talks to people who disagree with him, and he, quote, is just not presidential, unquote, I will tell you, you can't see the forest for the sleaze. It is about time a regular guy ascended to the presidency. I don't care how much money he had before. He laughed, cried, got angry, frustrated, and lashed out, just like you and me. And he did it in front of the whole country. Celebrate that. Rejoice in the fact that if nothing else, President Trump did not pretend to be some anointed king, some big deal, or someone who was above us all. The Republicans should be ashamed of themselves. Anyone who didn't support his reelection and held their nose for the Scranton kid made a bad choice. If you want it real bad, you're going to get it real bad. Rhinos out there, guess what? You are going to get everything you asked for, and that's on you. The presidency is occupied by a man, a regular Joe, nothing special, a person that puts their pants on one leg at a time, just like you and me. Remember that the next time you start talking about restoring morality to the presidency. Of course, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
I don't think you're wrong there, Delta. I agree. I wish people would see the positive in this, and that's what leadership's all about. Getting putting people in front of the leader, and you see that all the time with the president. He does that all the time.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what you said in your closing, and I appreciated what you put, and I really like it. I like what you had to say. One thing I'm going to say is let's talk a little bit about their high horse of morality. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
It's all wallpaper. It's all bull. Oh, I'm so this, I'm so that. Oh, Donald Trump is this, that, and the other thing. You know what? You assholes get caught in scandals with your pants down all the time. You had your hands in everybody's pockets for 40 years. You are amoral. Okay? Look what you have done to this country. You have no moral high ground to stand on. Look at our debt, for God's sake. Look at the wars and the blood and treasure we have spent so you can gain. On $174,000 a year, you've become multimillionaires. Don't tell me about morality. You don't have any morality. I've seen fraud, waste, and abuse, and I've seen it committed by Congress people, all in the name of doing what's right. So you know what? You can spare me your morality. Oh, Donald Trump tweets mean things. He does this. He was a playboy. He's had all this. Oh, he raped me. He did. You know what? Shut up. You have no moral high ground to stand on. It's all lies.
And that's my rant. Was the whole point. That was the whole point, Alpha. What makes anybody
absolutely
any better than anybody else? We've all made mistakes. So what? He's got 3 ex-wives, or 2 ex-wives. Sorry, he's on his 3rd marriage. Big deal. Big deal.
Well,
it's better than staying with a guy that cheated in the Oval Office because you think it's going to help your political career.
Yeah. Yeah, well, anyhow, these people in Washington, D.C., Republican and Democrat, they have no moral standing as far as I'm concerned. Donald Trump is far superior to all of them because he'll come out and openly admit his flaws. His life is out on Front Street. You can't understand what these people have done. I can't wait for all the Jeffrey Epstein crap to come out. You know, the truth is out there, and someday we're going to find out how bad these people really are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Donald Trump is no angel. I did not elect Donald Trump to be my rabbi,
Mm-hmm.
okay, or my moral compass. I elected him to be a president of the United States. The man has delivered on every promise that he has made, instead of just lying like all of these moral horsemen have done over the last how many hundred years.
Mm-hmm.
Forget it. Why do we need to be in Afghanistan anymore? I got the point early on. We don't need to be there anymore. He's pulling everybody out. He did exactly what he said he was going to do. He scares them because he has disrupted their status quo and their cash flow. And he's calling them out. He's not afraid. He's not beholden to anybody. And I appreciate that about Donald Trump.
So I would say that in the end, it all works out in the end, and I'll just have to let the process kind of work itself through. And I believe there's a little bit of divine intervention here also. We'll make it through, and we'll continue going on down the road of prosperity. But right now, we all have to be patient and hope that it works out the way it's supposed to.
Well, we'll have to see, won't we?
That's the problem. I don't like waiting to see, but that's another thing.
Well, the clock is definitely ticking.
Yep.
So, you know, I don't know. It's been really it's been really tough lately.
Mm-hmm.
It's been really hard to watch the news. I've been on the road for the past couple of weeks, and I've got to be honest with you. Netflix has been my best friend. I've really tried very hard to stay away from any form of news. I haven't really kept up on a whole lot. I find it all depressing. One good, bright thing that I did read today is the holding company that owns CNN is trying to sell it.
Get rid of it.
Yeah. Did you see that?
I didn't see that. That's interesting. though.
It's AT&T, right?
They're trying to
So-
sell CNN. Just get rid of it. Say
Yeah,
here,
so
someone else.
Full disclosure, I own stock in AT&T, so I was interested to see how my stock rose when that announcement came out. So
Wow, get rid of CNN. Well, it's a sinking ship, so it's not gonna, it's not gonna go
it's not a
anywhere.
news organization.
Right.
Well, Fox has gone down the same rabbit hole, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh, Fox. I'm done with Fox. I watch Newsmax now, and I read the Epic Times, and that's all I pay attention to. However, I wanted, everyone's at kind of doom and gloom. There was something that happened just this evening, 7:27 this evening, from Cape Canaveral. They launched SpaceX. They called it the Dragon and Falcon 9, I believe. That's not only what's pretty cool is that they're bringing 4 astronauts up to the space station, 3 Americans, 1 Japanese, all talented, top in their fields, and they're going to be heading there. They're going to be there tomorrow evening, I guess. It takes a little while to get up there, get up into the higher orbit where the space station is.
Can't be any worse. Can't be any worse than a red eye from California.
Right. But you know what? The bonus, I think the greatest news is that this is the second launch in the last year where America is now bringing their own ride up to the space station. We used to have to hitch a ride with the Chinese or the Russians, and it was just ridiculous.
This is a historical launch, Bravo, because it's 100%. It's 100% commercial,
Mm-hmm.
and it's 100%, made in America.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute.
And we're not getting the ride,
Hey,
Right.
listen,
like you said.
Elon, I said this to somebody in particular who may or may not be listening. Elon Musk was the pothead we needed.
Mm-hmm.
Not all heroes wear capes, but Elon Musk he's the man. He's just the
I
man.
I wasn't gonna buy a Tesla because I just on the basis. I mean, I love muscle cars, so like gas guzzling, loud vehicles.
Still not as fast as a Tesla.
But but I might support this company. I'll be honest with
Oh,
you.
yeah.
I might support this company because not only is he doing really great stuff, right? The SpaceX thing, Teslas are pretty amazing, actually, if you think
They
about it.
really are. They really are.
But he also decided to move away from California and move to Texas because California was suffocating him. And that's a huge, huge thing.
Well, wait a minute.
So what I find interesting, though, and what I really got to look out for is, will he bring those liberal ideologies to Texas?
Oh no. No. I think he's going to be fine. I think he has seen the light. So, hey, listen. Any dude that can launch a car into space, blaring Rocket Man on the stereo until the batteries die, is my hero.
I think that
Why
was
did you-
commercial. It might have been CGI.
No, it really happened. No.
Well-
it happened. Why did you do that? Because I could.
So we have a question from El May, and since Joe wants to undo all of Trump's accomplishments, you think he will cut the Space Force? Also, what are your thoughts on Elon Musk's COVID tweets?
I'll take the COVID tweets part.
I can
portion of the
handle
question.
the Space Force thing. So
Yeah, I'm not
real-
sure what I'm guessing he would cut him. I don't know. What do you think? there?
Real quick, El, you really can't cut Space
palmed.
Force because it's palmed, which is program operational management,
Yep.
and
It's already budgeted.
when you program money in the government, it takes those palm cycles go out 3 to 5 years. So what he did by creating the Space Force was purposely put money into the Space Force. That's like the current acting SecDef would like to see the Marines go away. But that's not going to happen either because you have to dismantle it in a programming fashion, a governmental bureaucratic programming fashion that takes years. So short answer is no, he can't dismantle the Space Force. Also, they've got really cool patches.
Yeah, they do. Totally cool patches.
Is it the same ranks as Air Force, or is it?
Yeah, currently it is.
They're not doing the naval
Currently
commands.
it is, but we should sometime in December what they're going to be called. Like they're not going to be called Marines or soldiers or airmen. I think they're going to be called troopers or something like that. And I'll have a follow up. I'll mark it down when this information comes out. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
And the rank should be very similar. The uniforms will be different though.
All right. So on to the tweets. Elon Musk's tweets about COVID. So he popped positive, right? And he wanted to go to this launch and all this other business. What wound up happening was he took 2 tests in the morning that were positive and 2 tests in the afternoon that were negative. Same nurse, same technician, same machine, blah, 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 blah. Does anybody...
He did 4 tests in one day.
Yeah. 2 positive, 2 positive, 2 negative.
So according to the ability to determine, so there's something called false positive, false negative, and the rate. What's the true positive ratio? Basically, in the statistics, that's a 50% accuracy rate, specificity or sensitivity. So in English, basically, sensitivity is, if you do a test, what's the ability for it to screen the condition? It's not very good. Basically, in a nutshell, it sucks. There's really no reason to trust the test like that. He did it 4 times in one day. Of course, you're going to get a 50-50 shot of being positive or negative.
No. Well, I don't agree. It's either you're positive or you're negative.
No. I'm talking statistically speaking. It's like if you flip a coin and you flip that coin over and over again, and
Okay. Well,
and if you look at the test itself, I'm just this basic medical testing stuff. So if you flip that coin, what's the chances it can be heads or the chances it can be tails? 50-50. So the same thing happens, but the accuracy or the ability for the test to determine whether or not you actually have that condition or not it's basically crap. That's what this test is. It's crap.
Yeah,
Everyone's
so
running
the-
around getting
so-
tested.
So the it depends on the test that you take. If you take a PCR test or you take a serial
Right.
test, and the rapid test, the 15-minute tests are only about 70-ish percent effective.
Accurate. Yeah, they're accurate. Now, if you did a PCR test, like you mentioned there, Delta, it would be it'd be 100%.
yeah, so the
whether you had it or
PCR
not.
test is greater, but it also takes longer to get the results back. So there's a
That's
lot of
sensitivity,
wonkiness
yeah.
in here, El May.
Yeah.
I know that we're kind of like we're batting it around a little bit, but the bottom line is you can take as many tests as you want and get the answer you want. It's like I don't know, it's like dating, right? You just keep trying until you get the answer you want.
So
Hey.
basically, what I'm going to deduce from this is everybody that's taken a rapid and all of these governments that are shutting back down again based on rapid results from
Yep.
their little testing sites. So throw away half the positives.
Pretty much.
Okay, so it's all crap.
That is.
Perfect. All right.
Oh, by the way, and we talked about this last time, and I'll just say it one more time really quick. The chance of you dying from this is less than 1%.
It's like 0.5%.
It's the same chance of getting any of my jokes.
That's correct.
Or getting hit by lightning.
That's right. You have a better chance of getting COVID than getting hit by lightning, but statistically speaking, you'll get better. But they're all threatening about closing down. And did you notice how the narrative changed once Joe Biden's little spectacle of office of the president-elect, which doesn't exist.
It's not even a thing.
It's not even a thing. And everyone's all celebrating, and all of a sudden you got the Governor Cuomo and Governor Newsom all talking how that's going to be great, and we're going to be looking at this, and then all of a sudden the counts started being questioned, and all the lawsuits started happening, and we got the lockdown again. What does a lockdown have to do with the election? Because it's a political weapon. There's my answer.
Well, my county where I live, we're creeping it back to draconian level here again because reasons, and people here are dying, not from COVID. They're dying financially.
Mm-hmm.
It's really tough, and businesses right now they're not going to shut down. They're not going to do it. They're not going to. It's about time. I think we've hit that point where Americans are going to American and say enough. Just enough. Stop.
Well, there's a vaccine coming around the corner, and everyone's still, it's not going to be out soon enough. And you got Cuomo saying we're not going
I'm
to
not
take it
taking
because
it.
it comes to the president. I mean,
And then the president says, "Fine, I'm not going to give it to you." Well, I'm going to sue you.
So that
Well,
was
you know what?
classic.
Shut up.
That was really classic.
Shut
Really,
up.
he went out in the
Puke.
Rose Garden. And he told the world, he's like, we're gonna give everybody the vaccine except for New York because Governor Cuomo doesn't want it. I thought that was just
when he's ready
classic
and he stops
Trump.
having a temper tantrum.
That's
So
hilarious.
about this vaccine, just a little fact base here, right? So the Pfizer vaccine is two cases, and I saw a report this weekend. You got to get it twice, and it's really painful going in, and you feel like you've had a hangover for the next 24 to 48 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody sign up.
I don't want it.
I mean,
I'll
I'm
take
gonna
COVID.
get it.
Thank you.
I'm gonna
It
get it.
reminds me of the good old gamma globulin shot I got in my tuchus not too long ago.
Everybody
Yeah.
loves it. Everybody loves it.
Yeah,
Give me-
baby.
Give me the juice. I'll tell you what. I'll
take more of that.
I'll take a gamma globulin over 10 days of an antibiotic any day of the week and twice on Sunday, because that gamma globulin works in like 72 hours,
Yes,
and
it
you
does.
start feeling better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still hurts like a Dickens, though, doesn't it?
Oh well.
You know what? I'm not taking the vaccine. Not
Some
happening.
of us might not have a choice.
That's true.
Yeah, that's
That's
where
true.
they start getting like they're already making flu shots mandatory in many healthcare facilities, and I'm sure this is going to follow the same line. And I'm like,
The good
Great.
old days. The good old days when I had to take the flu shot. And every time I got the flu shot, I got sicker than hell.
that's the what I call the generic inflammatory response. that your body has. That's it.
Okay, it felt like the flu, so
It does. Yeah.
it was
Sucks.
horrible. It was
It
terrible.
And that's what they're saying about this. As
Yeah.
soon as you get it, you start the response is, and it's going to hurt.
Yep.
If I'm going to sit there with the meat sweats for 2 days, it's going to be for a reason.
Yeah, it's
Never
'cause
going to do it.
It's because I went to a barbecue and I had the three meat plate, and I really did get the meat sweats. Which, by the way,
It's
been
a
a
thing.
while. It is a thing, but it's been a while because I haven't been able to go to a barbecue joint in a while.
Yeah.
I went to all the barbecue joints while I was down south, by the way.
Lucky.
All of them.
Well, it's down south.
SOB.
Of course
I
they're
know.
open.
And of course, they're good too.
Oh,
So-
they're excellent.
Yeah, on that note, guys, we're at an hour and 5 and 30 seconds. I want to thank our listeners tonight for joining us. Thank you very, very much. Make sure to catch us on your favorite podcast outlet. We're on Amazon now, which is kind of cool. YouTube, Rumble, Parler. Make sure to catch us on Rumble. Please go see us on Rumble after we post the video. Really appreciate that. Visit our page on Parler. Go to www.signal50.com. We're out there. Check us out for show notes and some announcements of things that are coming up. We haven't been doing a great job of doing a lot of updates. Things have been just insane. So
Well, we've been doing a lot of running on Parler. I mean, people are signing up all over the
Oh,
place,
yeah.
so it's great. We appreciate it.
Yep.
If you need to take us on the go, you don't have time to join us on Sunday nights, you can always take us with you via the podcast medium. Apple Podcasts are our number one download medium, and followed by Google Podcasts. So
That's right.
Yeah, and I can't speak for Alpha or Bravo, but I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. If we suck, somebody tell me so that we can change it up and we can fix it. But I think we're doing a pretty good job because we've got people coming out and listening.
yeah,
Right.
this is we had a steady little audience today. We appreciate it. We talked about some things. I thought we did, and we got some questions. I love answering the questions. So we'll keep doing this medium. I think
That's
it
right.
works.
And you know what? We're gonna bring on some more affiliates or sponsors here soon. We'd like you to check them out. Some small businesses. But for right now, I'm going to take us out with our affiliate plug as usual. POF USA, Patriot Ordnance Factory, Chandler, Arizona. www.pof-usa.com. Rifles made for Patriots by Patriots in America, in Chandler, Arizona. Everything from a 5.56 all the way up to sky's the limit, pretty much. They're the best rifles in the universe. You take my word for that. Maybe the Space Force, we can get them some for them. What do you think?
They need a laser gun, I think, right?
The phased
Careful,
plasma
you're-
rifle and
you're
the 45
treading
watt
water in the
range.
swamp.
I know, right? Somebody that has stock in Colt that's a congressman's going to come after me now. But that's
Right.
okay. Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, don't lose hope. Keep the faith. We'll have to keep an eye on the news, see what's happening. It's not over till it's over.
Until they
Like-
certify.
That's right. We'd like to thank our soldiers, sailors, and airmen who protect us 24/7, 365. Those that are deployed, thank you very much. It's a tough time of year to be deployed during the holiday season. We always have a thought out for you. Well, you'll be in our thoughts and prayers. And let's not forget about our police, fire, and other first responders out there keeping us safe at home. Really appreciate that. Thank you for your sacrifice and your time doing it. We know it's not easy. Everybody on this podcast knows the personal sacrifice that's involved with that. It's not an easy gig to help other perfectly good strangers, right?
That's right.
So, yep, it's a tough thing.
True.
So thank you very much, everybody, and really appreciate your time. Have a great week, and keep your fingers crossed. Hopefully, we'll win in the end. Other than that, good night, everybody.
Good night. Take
Good
care.
night.